to Insight with Blue Feather. I am Reverend Janet M. Reynolds. I am a psychic and spirit medium. Blue Feather and I, when we do our readings, I am in the now. I give you insight and confirmation to what is going on around you. We stay in the now. We do not go to the past, okay? Unless we have to. And then I also talk to the other side, or I could say to you that the other side talks to me, meaning family members and friends will come in a reading, and we will give you memories. So I am very excited to be here tonight because I have a good friend who has come on, and that is Reverend Moonwind, and it's Reverend Rae Moonwind. I'm sorry, Rae.
That's
and
fine.
Yeah, and she is a psychic medium, also an intuitive healer, past life regression practitioner, and she's a Reiki Master Teacher. So she has some beautiful qualifications here. Rae teaches workshops that she has personally developed, and it's on an angelic hierarchy. Say that word.
Hierarchy.
Thank you, hierarchy. As well as many other metaphysical topics. The thing I feel that is really important here, you received your training in Ascendant Mastery work at the Alberta McCreery of Farm Home Light Center in Illinois. So are you from Illinois?
I am from Southern Illinois. And when you say Illinois, people say, oh, Chicago. No. Think Kentucky border, cornfields, cows, inbreeders. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Does that mean farming?
Farming. I grew up in a farm community. I was in college before it came to my attention that not everybody who's bottle fed a calf or held a chicken. I had no clue. We took inner city kids to the zoo for those experiences, and I was really at a loss.
I didn't learn much about chickens until I got much older. We did not live on a farm, but where we did live was a nice, quiet neighborhood. And it was in Brentwood, Maryland, is where it was. So I was way over on the other side. But the thing that's important here, you work with adults, you work with children, and you work with animals. So does that mean you work with chickens too?
I work with chickens. They make nice pets. They run to the car to greet you in the afternoon like the dog does.
Oh, there you go. Your interest as a healer includes supporting and empowering women, as well as helping all people to develop appropriate coping skills, which will enable them to be successful in every area of their life. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, I'm glad to know that, because I think a lot, I feel a lot of what you do is really, it's needed, as well as what I do is needed. I do teach classes as well as you do, but I like my dream class better out of all of them.
I want to take your dream class.
Oh, I have one coming in September. I was going to tell everybody before we got off the air. So,
okay.
So that's a good thing, just to let you know. So let me say this to you. Tell us a little bit more about you. I mean, I have so much here, but what haven't I mentioned?
Okay. Well, you brought up that my goals include supporting women and children. I have been an elementary school teacher for 28 years, and I've spent a good chunk of that time working with special needs children. So, my goodness, the experiences that come with that. I am an indigo.
Oh, what has happened?
and then the mass influx between the 1980s and 1990s. So I was, as an adult indigo, in the school systems as the 80s and 90s babies were coming through to provide support. So that was interesting. And as far as supporting women, I am a domestic violence survivor. A lot of my story will eventually be written, but it's going to be a few years, getting the legalities of publishing some of that stuff.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I bring a lot to the table to work with clients.
Go back to Indigo Child. I love that. You know,
Yeah.
I remember that. Now tell me again what year that was. The 70s and 80s, right?
The mass influx was mid 80s to mid 90s. There were some early ones who came early 70s.
Uh-huh.
There was also a mass influx around the 1940s.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Rae, you have some friends here. Can you see that?
No, it's not. Where am I looking?
It's maybe it's just I that has it. Maybe it's just me. It's T. Stewart, and they say hello, Rae.
Hi, Teresa.
Bob and I are here, so you need to know that. Okay.
Yes, I do need to know that. Bob and Teresa were part of Alberta McCreery's Farm Home Light Center, and they have had such an impact on my life. I would not be who I am today without both of them.
Oh, that's nice to know. So I'm glad that they've come to see you. Graham was supposed to be here tonight too, so I'm waiting on him.
Playing hooky?
Huh?
Playing hooky?
It sounds that way because I don't see him, or it looks that way because I don't see him. What do you think is going on in our world on a spiritual level at this time?
Hi, Paula. The mass awakening, the great awakening, or, you know, as we were always told, people are going to be losing their minds at this point in time. And we prepared for so many years. We were told the frontline light workers would be the ones to step in and give guidance to the masses at this point in time. So we learned our gardening skills and our prepper skills, and we've been prepared for the photon belt to hit and the electricity to go out. And, you know, the Great Awakening is just not looking anything like what we thought we were preparing for. Hi, Steve. And a lot of my other intuitive friends and I are all in agreement that we just don't feel the apocalyptic outcome of the whole thing that we've prepared for our whole lives. It feels rather anticlimactic, and like the outcome is going to be more peaceful in spite of what we're seeing, you know, in our communities and in the news at this point in time. So that's what I think is going on, is I think we are right now experiencing this mass awakening that we've waited for forever. It just doesn't look like what we thought we were preparing for.
Well, and you're right, it doesn't. And because there's so much disruption. Disruption is a good word, but perhaps it takes disruption and I don't like the word chaos, but chaos. And maybe it takes all of the negative to make a positive. And then, you know, once we clear the air of all of that, then hopefully we should be much better.
Right. Right. That seems to be the object of the game, is demolishing the structures that are really not working for us. This is the fun part about being an indigo and working with indigos. I teach a lot of workshops on indigo children. The newer babies that have been coming in since the 80s, they have upgraded DNA. I always tell the parents that you're the old cell phone, your kids are the new iPhone, just to give them a frame of reference. I'm not keeping up with the cellular DNA and memories of these kids that are coming in at this point in time, and I'd like to think I'm fairly on top of it, but they are being born with knowledge of technology and the way systems works in ways that we can't fathom. They came here to be the systems busters, to create major change in our world, and to turn our societal structures on their ear. And they're doing a fantastic job of it. I've said for a long time, there's different kinds of indigos. The successful one who sees that brick wall called society and goes under it or over it or around it. So these are your doctors and your lawyers and your teachers who infiltrate the system because they know you have to be inside the system in order to create change in the system.
Right. Right. And I do believe there's really, I mean, there's already an extreme amount of changes at present, but
There'll be more.
I know that's what I was just getting ready to say. I do feel there's going to be much more. So, but the good thing is we just need to put a positive note to it and just know it's going to be for the better.
Absolutely. The whole thing is very positive. It looks scary on the outside. But we've got a lot of things going on in our society right now that are geared towards creating conflict and separation. So if we have enough wherewithal to just be aware of that and make conscious choices about how much conflict we want to experience, because we have control of that.
Right, right. And believe me, I would pretty much like to stay in the moment than I would to have expectations of what is going on out there.
Right.
I don't, it's not that I don't look at it. It's not that I don't know it. I just try to stay in the moment and work with it. So
You can look through a news feed, just scroll through once a day and know everything that's going on in the world without plugging into the sensationalism of those posts of the news on television.
right. Yeah, the news on TV is more than I can handle.
Well, they're getting ratings, so they're really hyping it up and plugging into your emotions. And I'll take care of my emotions over here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, they're instilling fear, and that's why I say it's a good thing if perhaps we try to just stay in the moment and not look that far ahead and be afraid of a lot of what's going on around us, but to just try to work with it every day. But
Yes.
that's not the case.
And that may change from day to day, and that's okay. How you work with it, what coping skills you implement, how you feel about it.
Yes, yeah. So, we'll just put a lot of love and light around it, and just know that we just have to trust what's going on, or trust the guys, as I call them, and just work with it as best we can every day.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. Well stressed. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. With everything that is going on around us, do you feel everyone's going to wake up?
Boy, that is a great question. And what I really want to say is yes, I believe in people and I want to believe everyone is going to wake up. Do I really think that's going to happen? No, I don't. We are already seeing the split between those who are making the choice to ascend, to step into that 5D consciousness, to be more aware, and those who have both feet planted like they're in concrete and this is the way it is. A friend of mine and I were having a conversation about some of the political debates that we were seeing, and I said, I don't understand the either or thinking. Either it's this way or it's that way. Either you believe this way or you are XYZ. I said, what about the middle ground where it's and both, and you see both sides of it, and there's more information than just what the two sides are offering? And she said, you're really going to have to stop those critical thinking skills and thinking outside the box and being able to see all perspectives. Other people don't do that, and it's just confusing. Just stop.
I know. And everyone has their own views. That's understandable. But I don't feel that you should really honestly try to change people to what
I agree.
To what
people believe what they believe. Leave them alone.
Yes,
leave them alone. They will either come to other conclusions or they will not. There is enough information out there to poke a stick at that if they're going to start waking up and rearranging their thoughts, it will happen for them. No, I agree with you. And we're coming back to the same point that we were making earlier, that a lot of these things are set up to create conflict, to cause division. Why would you intentionally engage in arguing and presenting the opposing point of view for any reason? Because that's just feeding the conflict and the separation. And if the object of our game is to heal, to help others awaken, to create unity and oneness, you're not serving any purpose by proving your point and trying to educate people against their will,
Well, yes, exactly, against their will, and or to move away from them because they don't have the same belief system as you do. And you could be friends for 100 years, and a lot of what's going on, you're no longer that 100-year friend.
So I think in psychology it's called range of reciprocity. The way my guides showed it to me was with a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever rung you're standing on the ladder, the people who are 1 to 2 rungs above you and the people who are 1 to 2 rungs below you, you're all within the same range. You can reach each other. Anybody who's beyond those 2 rungs, you're completely and totally out of each other's range of reciprocity. Odds are you're probably not going to be running in the same circles or running into each other. But if you did, it would be a very uncomfortable interaction for both of you because you're so far out of range vibrationally of each other's thoughts and feelings and belief systems that you cannot connect on any real level.
Yeah, right, correct. I agree with you on that. So, and I do feel that with a lot of what is going on, patience is really, really needed. It really is.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And then some. How would I know if I am going through a spiritual awakening? I mean, I know, but how would someone else know? I would hope after
well, the symptoms of, pardon?
I said, I would hope after all these years, I would know.
Right?
Yeah.
The symptoms are not a good time, and the symptoms are not very well timed with the things that are going on in our world right now. I have talked to so many people who are spiking fevers and having flu-like symptoms, and it seems to be hitting in the respiratory system and heart flutters, digestive upset. I mean, there are a lot of the symptoms of some of the other stuff that's going on, and yet that's not it. It's headaches because of the crown chakra opening, the third eye opening. So it's a lot of physical symptoms, but it's also symptoms that are going on outside of themselves, long-term relationships that are just all of a sudden not tolerable and breaking up, friendships that you've had forever that are going by the wayside, new people coming into our lives, jobs shifting around like crazy. I mean, you think you have job security and all of a sudden you don't. So anything that is not a vibrational match or helping to move you forward, or as your vibration is bumping up and you're no longer compatible with the things that you had been comfortable with, big shifts are going on with that.
I know.
And a lot of people are dying. A lot of people are like, yeah, on a soul level, they're like, peace out. This is enough, and I'm not sticking around for this. Thanks for the opportunity to go.
Yes, and I hear you on that. I really do. So, what would you recommend to do to cope with all of it?
The most basic 101 coping skills, and I teach workshops on this regularly. And I have said this so much that anybody in the audience who's a regular client of mine has heard it. Other countries, other cultures are teaching their children from the cradle up that we are energetic beings, and you have to take care of yourself on an energy level. You have to, or you cannot be a healthy, functioning human. In the United States, we consider that woo-woo crap. We don't teach our children that. And then when we're not functioning well as adults, we get Prozac or Zoloft. And I am aware that medication has a time and place and serves a purpose. I'm not knocking that at all. What I am saying is medication in and of itself is not a coping skill. It doesn't replace learning coping skills. So if you want to manage anxiety, and anxiety is just rampant at this point in time, everybody's got anxiety. It's because of lack of coping skills, and anxiety in and of itself has become a coping skill. Oh my goodness, I have anxiety. I just can't right now. You know, I told one of my best friends recently, she's like, he just gives me anxiety. And I said, you say that like he's going to care.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's going to react to it. I said, he doesn't care. You know, you need better coping skills. So we've got to go back to the coping skills 101. We have to be taking care of ourselves on an energetic level every day.
Right.
Hopefully you're brushing your teeth and showering every day. You should also be balancing your chakras and meditating every day, every single day. And when you make it a part of your schedules and your routines and your habits, it's just the next thing you do in a series. It's not the big thing you have to prepare for and make time for. It's just the next thing you do in a series. And when it's well practiced, you can do it in 3 to 5 minutes. It's not like it's going to take a long time. But I have so many people say to me, well, I can't meditate. I can't quiet my mind. And my standard response to that is, how did riding a bicycle go for you the first time? It's a skill. Dancers, athletes, musicians, it's a skill that they practice every day, and they hone that craft over years. So no, I'm not shocked that you can just sit down and all of a sudden clear your mind. It is a practice that you hone over time and you keep at it. And especially if you're an adult with anxiety and you've never been taught this, it's going to take you a minute. Stick with it.
Take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes, not 1, 2.
Elementary school teacher, you have no idea how many times I have locked myself in a bathroom in the classroom and done deep breathing for 3 minutes. It has saved children's lives.
Yeah, and I'm sure. But you know what? I watched a video by Shirley MacLaine. I think we can go back about 15 years ago, maybe even 18. And she was doing a meditation to where she was balancing out her chakras and the energy centers. And I was able to take from her the 45-minute meditation, and I created a 15-minute balancing of my chakras. And I also have done a what I call the chakra lady, so that I can give it to other people. But it's just a faster routine, and it's like your root. I say no anger, no fear, and I just keep going right on up. I do that every day, and I have tried to teach that to many people in my readings. And I tell them also, just like you say, just take a few minutes every morning and balance out your chakras and calm yourself down for your day. And I'm so glad that I do it, and I stopped doing it. And believe me, when all of this was going on, I was glad that I had started it again, because it helps me every day to get into my day. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does get sticky trying to not get caught up in the fear. We're human. Of course, we get caught up in the fear. So what's the go-to coping skill? Yes. And the meditation practices, they evolve over time. You're not going to be meditating the same way 15 years into your practice that you're meditating right now. And that's something I've seen with my practices. I am so ADHD, I can't sit still to meditate. So this is why I meditate in the morning with a walk or at the gym while I'm weightlifting. Once my central nervous system is engaged, then my mind will focus. Right. And then we've been doing this over the years. My guides have started calling me into a second meditation after the prayer in motion, where I am able to sit and do a deep breathing, balance, clear my mind. And more recently, my guides are now calling me into a third meditation later in the day that is a more intense meditation than the first two. And it doesn't last very long. It could be 4 or 5 minutes, but my goodness, the amount of information you get in that time.
I know.
So it's a practice that evolves.
Yes, and it's needed, because it's quiet time for a few minutes and you're calming your body down. So I can tell the difference if I don't do it versus when I do it. So well,
and that's a really good point. It's got to be a practice skill. You can't wait until you're in the middle of an anxiety attack and then try to meditate. Whereas if you've been meditating and you know how to soothe your central nervous system, then when you have an anxiety attack, now you have a skill to fall back on.
Yes. So sometimes I do get a little bit of anxiety and or depression, but it's not often, and it's because it's just so many changes so fast. Do you think? Yes. So, all right. Now, you talk and you write about your guides a lot, and you're talking about your guides even now. And I think that that's really great. tell us about your guides and how you communicate.
So I channel the archangels and ascended masters as a collective. So it sounds like one voice. If you follow Esther Hicks, he talks about Abraham. She channels Abraham. Abraham is not a singular entity. Abraham is a collective of entities. So when I channel the ascended masters and archangels, it's like that, but they speak as one voice. When they separate out for me, my buddies, my hangout buddies, are usually Saint Germain, Archangel Michael, Kuan Yin. Archangel Nathaniel's been hanging out a lot lately. He's a hoot. I swear he rides a Harley and has a leather jacket. So those are the ones that I work with most closely and most often throughout the course of a day. But I usually hear the collective. Sometimes there's an ancestor thing that goes on. My Uncle Billy Two Feathers talks to me a lot, and he'll leave me gifts of feathers. My dad pops in once in a while, and he's hilarious. When he was alive, if he had something to say, you better catch it because he did not repeat himself, and he is the same dead. It's so irritating. He'll pop in when I'm in a meeting or doing something where I need to be serious and focused and start cracking jokes. But some of them are deceased friends and family, but usually it's the collective that are here. I had a teacher named Janet years ago, again through Farm Home Light Center, who told me, who channeled, and she said, "You're going to do this work." And I thought she was crazy. And one day after we'd been meditating, I heard an answer to a question I had in my head, and it sounded like me talking, and it startled me because it was the first time that I recognized that I have thoughts that sound like my tone of voice, but they're not my thoughts. And that's when I began to recognize this is how my guides talk to me. I think they're my thoughts. And I'm like, wow, that was a really great idea. Yes, it was. It wasn't yours. So we have a running dialogue all day long, all day and all night. We just constantly talk back and forth and back and forth. And sometimes they give me very direct, do this, go here, say that. Sometimes they give me communication through my body. I'll feel sick to my stomach. I'll spike a fever. That's a pretty clear indicator I need to not do the thing I'm getting ready to do. I don't always get those messages clearly, and I have wound up in some really sticky situations over it. We had a strong conversation after this past weekend because they got me sick to try to keep me out of the situation, and I didn't catch it. I said, guys, you've got to use your words. Use your words. Communicate clearly. Having me spike a fever without a clear indication of don't go here, don't do that isn't always helpful.
Yeah, and I can understand that. So, but that's good that you, I hear what you say. They talk with you all day long. See, I do mine a little bit different, and I only allow them to talk to me when I'm working.
So you're a little less crazy than I am, is what you're saying.
I didn't hear that.
All the time.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. So, but Blue Feather, he really, I do have Blue Feather there, and I do have a Joy God that hangs out, and then Saint Germain is around me, and I have a couple other ones, but I trust all of it. I listen as much as I possibly can, and I try to work with all of it, the best way that I know how. So I feel it's all good that we got so many nice and good guides.
Oh, yeah.
And I like it when our family members are there too. So can you read anybody at any time?
That is a fantastic question. The answer is yes. The ethical question is, or the ethical answer to that question is no. I interviewed Reverend Ben Cox a couple years ago before I was doing a presentation on mediumship because I have never had any formal training as a medium, and I just didn't understand what that was about. So I wanted to talk to him about it. And what I took away from my meeting with Ben was the reason for psychic mediumship training is mostly ethics. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can read people anytime I want to. It's not an ethical thing to do. I don't open other people's mail without their permission. I don't peep in other people's windows. I do my best to not eavesdrop. Ethics. So, and this is the classic newbie oops, is, I'm getting psychic downloads, so I've got to verbal vomit all over you and tell you about it because I'm psychic and I heard this. Don't do that. It's a violation of someone's privacy. So if you are getting a message out of the blue, you might ask a person, may I give you a message? Or you might just mind your own business. If I'm standing in line behind somebody at Walmart and I'm getting all their personal stuff, I'll just kind of push that back.
Yeah.
Just because you can doesn't make it okay.
That's right. And I have learned that. I learned that at Camp Chesterfield. I really did. And that's going back many years ago. And you have to have respect for the people that are around you, because of course I can read people, all the time too. But as far as giving messages and everything, I have been taught that you ask permission to give them a message. And I agree. And I do have some other ladies that are around me that are readers. They don't ask permission. They just spit out all kinds of stuff. And I find that not really nice.
Have you had conversations with them about personal boundaries?
Well, yes, but sometimes, they don't hear you. You could tell them personal boundaries, but they don't understand.
Here's my therapist's phone number.
Yeah. No, they just, but no, you do have to have respect for others. And one time I was in, and I'm going to be honest, I was in a bar with a bunch of friends, and we were all sitting there talking, and I could hear Blue Feather speaking with me for me to give the person next to me a message. And I kept telling them no, because I'm not working, I'm having fun. But evidently the message was very, very important for me to do, because he really wouldn't let me go. He kept saying, say this, say that, So I finally did ask the gentleman if I could give him the message. And he said yes. And I did tell him what Blue Feather had to say. And I was so glad that, because he just looked at me and he said, thank you so much. So whatever it was that Blue Feather has said to me to tell him was something that he really needed to hear. And he was grateful that I did it. But that was the only time I ever did that. So, and I did. Yes, because I tell Blue Feather, don't bother me unless we're working.
I love that. Boundaries with your guides. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, do you get messages about current or future events, and do you share them?
I do. So it was 1991. I was a kid in college, and I had a very vivid out-of-body experience. At age 21, having come from farm country, I'd never heard of the Twin Towers, and I had no idea what that was. When they went down, we were under attack in 2011, and I was watching that on TV. That was my dream. Mm-hmm. And then as the conspiracy theories were bouncing around later, one of the conspiracy theories was that charges had been set underneath. That's what I saw in my dream. The charges were set underneath, and I never said a word to anyone because it was such a big controversy. And you're full of it, and you're just a conspiracy theorist if you think there were charges. I didn't say anything. Yeah. So back to that, how much conflict you want to have in your life. If I'm doing a reading with someone, if I'm talking with close personal friends in my inner circle and we're discussing these things, I will tell them the downloads that I've gotten. But I don't randomly share that, because it's when someone's paying me for a reading, they're valuing my intuition. I'm sharing a download that hasn't been asked for. It's my opinion. And I'm just not getting into the conflict of different opinions, especially over messages from spirit. I'll hang on to those. If it's ever particularly important for me to share it regardless, I will, but I usually don't get those messages. But I will tell you, if you ever see me packing my animals and driving out of state, you might want to follow me.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Send me a quick text.
Janet, we're going.
Yeah. Say, get going, Janet. Get going. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. And this I love, because I've seen spirits also. What is it like seeing spirits? Does it scare you?
Yes. Yes, that's something I get asked a lot. Doesn't it scare you to see dead people? Yes. When I'm awake and, throughout the course of the day, when I'm seeing them peripherally and they're just interacting, it's normal for me. It's not a big deal. I was at the gym the other day and I was leaning against the wall stretching and I saw purple to the right and I said, "Hi, Saint Germain." And I heard, "I'm not Saint Germain," and a giggle. And I turned and looked and the color was violet and indigo and blue. And I said, "Hi, Archangel Nathaniel, it's been a moment." And we had the best time. We messed with other people at the gym. It was so much fun. So during the day, it's fine. At night, when I'm out of body or I'm dreaming or I'm asleep and I think I'm awake, and then I do wake up and there's a face right here, that is terrifying. I can't tell you the number of times I've tried to run through my closed bedroom door just to get away from something, or I've gone through and turned on every light in the house. Like last week, I mean, this is still happening. Yeah, at those times it is scary for me. And I cannot discern in the middle of the night between a physical presence and a spirit presence.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine and I were talking about how we store our weapons. And I said, I don't keep mine close at night because I can't discern between people and spirits at night. This is why I have a dog. The dog lets me know if it's something she can see or not. And I really rely on it.
Wow. Okay. Well, when we were growing up, my grandmother was the Indian, my grandmother was Cherokee. And the one thing that she taught us, she was very clairvoyant, which of course we didn't understand anything like that then. So, but the one thing that she really taught us is to never be afraid of spirits, ghosts, or any kind of action from a spirit or ghost that is around you. In other words, like if you hear a knock on the door, and if it happens to just be 3 knocks and you open it and nobody's there, she always taught us not to be afraid. So I really am not afraid of spirits or ghosts, but I'm sure that there can be situations around us that can happen, or like even when I'm doing readings, when I see different entities out of the side of my eye, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. But the one thing I do is I always tell Blue Feather it has to be of the light. I don't want anything dark.
That is such an important point. Back to what we were talking about earlier, coping skills for ascension, making sure that you're clearing the energy of your home and your property and protecting and shielding that energy before you go to bed at night.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, every time that I forget, those are the nights I'm trying to run through a closed bedroom door.
Yes. Well, I don't do that clearing all the time, and when I bought this house, because this house was actually painted black and orange, and there's a lot more to it, but anyway, yes. And do you know that by the time I got through painting it, putting my energy into it and everything and the colors that I have, my house is very calm. I never did sage it. It was a long time before I did do that. So I feel like, I guess, in the process of cleaning it up and clearing it out, I did a good job. And the air, it's just nice and comfortable. So, but it does make a difference. I go and clear people's homes because they see entities, and I'm sure you do the same thing, don't you, or do you?
It depends, because so many times when people ask for an energetic clearing, I check several things first, because if you're dealing with a home where someone with a serious addiction problem of some sort resides, I can clear the energy. They're just going to pull it right back in.
Yes.
Or if it's an abusive situation, if there are abusive people living in the house.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've seen that with clients. I had that situation happen myself when I was living in a domestic violence situation. I would clear the energy of the house and I would protect the energy of the house. And then my husband would come home from work and bring all of his nastiness in, and it would just completely undo everything I've done. You can't hold your energy and your protective shield sustained when you've got somebody poking holes in.
Yes.
And you're in a space to where you're allowing it because you don't have other choices.
Yes. And
I don't know that was a direct answer about whether I clear other people's energy in homes or not. But I also poke around to see, why do we need to clear this?
Yes. Well, that's important when you're clearing a house. But the other thing that is important, if there is an entity that is negative, and you're doing everything that you can to clear it out, you have to let the people who own the house that know that they also have to tell that entity to leave. They can't.
Let's talk about that.
Say that again.
I said, let's talk about that specifically.
Well,
we're free will choice. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We got a couple minutes left. We're doing so well talking about everything. We're running out of time. So, but I would say to you, yes. What we'll do is we'll say TBC, to be continued, and we'll have another podcast. But please tell everybody, we got about 5 minutes left, Rae. Tell everybody phone numbers, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. So my website is raemoonwind.com, and it does have my phone number and email on there. My telephone number is 386-848-7119. 386-848-7119. My website is raemoonwind.com. Gmail is revraemoonwind@gmail.com. And Facebook, I have 2 Facebook pages. I have the professional page, which is nice and clean and professional. And that one is Rae Moonwind. My private page is Rae Moonwind, and in parentheses it says Rae's Fairy Playground. That's the one you want. Send me a friend request and tell me where we met.
Okay, tell them your phone number for me one more time, please.
386-848-7119.
Okay, so that's how that they can get a hold of you. I want you to know that I really appreciate you having been here tonight. I'm glad you're feeling better. And
thank you for having me. This was fun.
Oh, I know it is. I love doing it. I really do. I just want to say, we did well. Tell everybody where we were real quick this weekend.
So Janet and I have been working with Mary Ellen Popick, who runs the Spirit Fest events, and they take place all over the state. This weekend, we went to Punta Gorda, and it was right on the water, and the hotel was fantastic, and all of the wonderful people were there. There were speakers all day long, both Saturday and Sunday. There are tons of vendors, all kinds of healers and psychic mediums. So check out Spirit Fest of Florida. Janet and I both post those events to our Facebook pages as they come up. So we'd love to see you someplace.
Yes. Now, where is it we're going next?
Port St. Lucie. And that is what, September 9th and 10th, I think?
No, I thought it was I thought it was 12th and 13th. You might be right. I
might be. I don't know. We'll post something. Something will be shared.
It's the second weekend of September, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really am.
I am too.
So, but now I will tell everybody that I am Janet Reynolds, Reverend Janet Reynolds. Blue Feather is my guide. I am in the now. And you can get me at 813-814-1601. And my webpage is www.bluefeather.net. And also to let everyone know that I do have this date. I am going to be doing a dream workshop September 25th, and I will be doing it here in Tampa in my home. And if anybody is interested, you can also email me, janet@bluefeather.net. So please let me know. And I think we have every bit of one more whole minute to go. So I'm just going to tell everybody to have a lovely evening. And Ray, what are you doing?
For the rest of the evening, pardon?
What will you be doing this evening when we get finished?
I'm going to do my cards.
Oh, there you go. Good job.
Can do my cards, clear my energy, and go to bed.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to get a good massage, so I'll think of everybody. Okay, well, thank you very much for having been here. And
thank you, Tina.
I will see you soon.
Okay, all right. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming.